All right, guys, John the Sports Dad here on the Grumpy Sports Dad Talk Show, and I am going to read off, and this is from the San Diego Union Tribune, the 2023 NFL Mock Draft, their version of it. We're going to give you my reaction to this draft, and let's go. Let's jump right on in. And so, with the first pick in this upcoming draft, the Carolina Panthers have officially traded, which I just, whoa! Man, in my opinion, I was like, holy cow, if you're going to give up that much, give up proven talent. Go get Lamar. I don't know. Get somebody that's proven. Anyways, that's just me though. But anyways, number one, from the Carolina Panthers, who traded for the number one overall pick, their proclamation is C.J. Stroud, quarterback out of Ohio State. This kid is a beast. I don't know if I fully agree. I get that as far as the tiers go, he is in that top tier. It's him and one other kid. But personally, I see this going the other way around. I see it being Bryce Young. Just the stats, the presence, the intelligence. He is very, very, very savvy for his size. And so personally for me, I see it being Bryce Young. Now, number two, to the Houston Texans, they have it being Bryce Young. And like I said, mine switched. But I think you're not going to miss with either of these kids. I don't know if they're going to come in and be an immediate major impact. I don't know, again, if I would have given up what I did. But I do think that both of them have the potential, as long as they can stay healthy and they can translate over to the NFL, be teachable, which is the things that from my understanding, that they need. They need, or that they do. They are. They're very teachable young men. And so, number two from the Houston Texans is Bryce Young. All right, and then over here we have Arizona at number 3 taking Will Anderson Jr., Alabama. This is obviously in the event the Cardinals keep their pick, which I think is very, very unlikely. I have a feeling that they will be in trade talks with either Atlanta or who is the other one that's quarterback needy. But I have a really, really, really good feeling on it being either possibly Indianapolis, trading up just that one spot, just the leapfrog, so that just in the event like Atlanta doesn't trade up, or maybe Las Vegas, the Raiders, or, any of these other quarterback needy teams. And so they have Will Anderson Jr. going to Arizona. Again, I do not believe that they will be making this pick. And so my projection for the third pick is that it will be a quarterback, and I think it will be Anthony Richardson at the third pick. All right, number 4, Indianapolis Colts. Like I already told you, I think that Anthony Richardson will be before, but they have Anthony Richardson going at number 4 here. And I think that somebody's going to take that third take, and then the Indianapolis are going to end up taking Will Levis out of Kentucky. That is my guess. But then nonetheless, let's go off what they got here. They got Anthony Richardson. Kid is a freak athlete, 6'4", and a 4.43 340. I think he weighs 240. Fun thing is, if they're ever short on pass rushers, they can sub in Anthony Richardson as a pass rusher. This kid is bigger than Hassan Reddick. He's a monster. And he's not a proven package. He is not a finished product. He's going to need some time. And so I have a feeling that they're going to bring him in under the pretense that it is, in fact, a rebuild year, because I do not think he is going to immediately be an impact. But a year of getting out there, getting on the field, learning his trade in the NFL will be good for. I personally would probably rather bring somebody in for him to learn under for a year and not let him take in those hits that he's going to be taking, because he does have some things to work on. All right, number 5, with the Seattle Seahawks, pick taken from Denver, which I think is going to stay. I think they're going to keep this pick because, again, I think that they are going to have a quarterback scramble for the first 4 picks. But they have the Seahawks, taking Jalen Carter, defensive line out of Georgia. So to my understanding, all this BS about him having these charges is in fact false. This is going away. He is not going to be charged with anything, and I do not think that this will affect him on draft day. I don't. I do not condole this, but I'm going to tell you, as a kid, as a man that was once a young, stupid kid, I drove fast in my car. I've raced friends, and it wasn't always with the most clear mind, a sound-minded body. And this, I personally feel like this could have happened to a lot, and I know I'm speaking for a lot of my friends as well. This could have happened to anybody, and I'm sorry. And Jalen, I want to say this. A lot of people I don't think are taking into this into account. I'm sorry. That was probably hard, and I am sorry for you. But I would love this pick, Jalen Carter, number 5. I would be jumping for joy if I heard that they picked Jalen Carter at number 5. Personally, I think it's going to be the first 4 quarterbacks, and then it'll be Will Anderson Jr. Because that kid's production, you can't fake that. That's not something you can teach. And same with Jalen Carter, you cannot teach the attributes he has. And so again, they have the Seattle Seahawks taking Jalen Carter, which I think will be Will Anderson Jr. with a four straight quarterbacks picked up in the first round. All right, and this one they have Detroit at the pick number 6 taking Christian Gonzalez, cornerback out of Oregon. Probably. They have a very good defensive line, offensive line. They have picked recent wide receivers. They have a solid quarterback whom they have announced they're going to be sticking with. So I don't think they're going to draft a quarterback. The only other thing that I could see them possibly doing is taking a linebacker. But I don't think that there are any linebackers that are projected. So there is a chance that they pull back from this and trade back. I do think that that's highly likely. Simon, please stop that. Sorry, my fatherly duties are coming into play. Do not do that. I love you, baby, but please don't do that, okay? You can break the TV. To trade back to get one of the linebackers that are going to be in the later first round. But Christian Gonzalez, he's the best cornerback coming out in this draft. He's from Oregon. And like I said, if Jared Goff, all these other players, if they're keeping their job, they drafted Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Jamal, whatever his name is. They have a bunch of young talent everywhere else, but they do need a cornerback. So I think that this might be accurate in the event that they keep this pick. But I think there is a very high chance that they do not keep this pick. All right, and so they have number 7, Las Vegas, taking Will Levis Jr. I do think that there is a high chance that Las Vegas gets one of these teams, one of these players. And this would be perfect for them if this actually played out in their favor, because I think that they would love to draft this kid. They currently do not have a starting quarterback, and Will Levis would be a great pick for them at the number 7 spot, although I do have a feeling that they might be trading up with the Arizona Cardinals to take that number 3 pick, and they might even be taking the exact same player at the number 3, so if they fell to him at 7, that's great news for them. What, baby? No. You punched your brother. You can't have it back. I'm tired of you getting aggressive and being so upset about the tablet. You can go watch it with your brother, and in maybe 20 minutes I'll let you have it back, but you got to be good, because I am sick of you being mean to your little brother. Alright guys, fatherly duties had to call. Alright, so now over here we have Atlanta taking Tyree Wilson out of Texas Tech. This kid is a monster. Absolute monster. And I do think that there's a good chance that he might end up going to number 6 with the Lions, because of just the simple fact that they want to have just taking the best player on the board. This kid is 6'6", I think he's 280, 40-inch vert, 4.5, 4.40 speed. He is a monster. He's fast. He's a little bit of a one-trick pony in the sense that the only thing he really does is he really likes his bull rush. Really likes his bull rush. So I'd like to see a little bit more out of him as far as the sense of having a little bit more variety in his pass rushing. But Tyree Wilson, I like that pick. I think that might actually be a viable pick and might be right for them at the number 8 spot. Number 9 pick they have, which is a Chicago taking from Carolina, because as we all know, Carolina moved up to the number 1 pick. They have Peter Skoronski, offensive line out of Northwestern. And I'm not so sure about this pick. I kind of think they need to shore up a little bit more on their defensive side of the ball. So I might be looking at Miles Murphy, Lucas Van Ness, something like that. a defensive edge guy. There's no more interior defensive players. I don't think there's any linebackers that are high enough. Maybe another wide receiver, although I doubt it. They just got DJ Moore with that trade, and so I'm not so sure about this, but nonetheless, they have Peter Skoronski from Northwestern. Kid is a monster. He's the highest rated offensive lineman coming out of this draft. He is a good player, and so if they need that and they are going to draft that, I wouldn't be upset, but I kind of think that they're going to go more defense than offense, and so maybe even cornerback, maybe Devin Witherspoon, maybe not Quentin Johnston, maybe Brian Breesy or Miles Murphy again, like I said, but that sounds a bit more right to me than Peter Skoronski. But nonetheless, that's who they have. All right, and so for the number 10 pick from the Eagles, they have them taking Devin Witherspoon out of Illinois. He's a cornerback. With this Darius Slay thing about him requesting a trade for money, I think that this is a good pick. I think this is the obvious number two cornerback coming out in this league or in draft. The only other person I see them might taking is Joey Porter Jr. But Devin Witherspoon, I actually agree with this, and I think that this would be a good fit for them. All right, number 11, Tennessee, Bijan Robinson, running back out of Texas. If this happens, then I think that means that Derrick Henry's going bye-bye, and which I don't know if it's going to happen. But nonetheless, Bijan Robinson, I personally think, they have released Taylor Lewan. And so I think that they're going to address that tackle position personally. I don't know if Orlando Brown is a possibility for them. He's another possibility, and I don't know if that's going to happen. I think that they're going to draft so that they don't have to invest as much money at that position. And so personally, I think that they're going to take Paris Johnson at number 11. But nonetheless, they have Bijan Robinson going to him. And so number 12 is Houston, which they got from Cleveland, and they have them taking Quentin Johnston Jr. So they have Quentin Johnston as the first wide receiver coming off the board. I don't know about that, but nonetheless, they need receivers. I just personally think that they're going to go with a defensive player. I don't know if they're going to go with another. There are some free agent wide receivers that they could bring in. DJ Chark being probably the front runner. They already have a good wide receiver in Brandon Cooks. And so I'm not so sure that they're going to bring in, although I will say this, of all the wide receivers coming out, while he's not the best, he has the highest ceiling. This kid is big. This is a very big kid. And so I wouldn't be mad at it, but I don't think it's going to happen. I personally think they're going to go with a defensive player, personally. All right, number 13 with the New York Jets. They have them taking Paris Johnson Jr. I think that they would be jumping for joy if Paris Johnson Jr. left to them. This dude is one of the biggest men that I have ever seen. And he's coming out of Ohio State. He is, if I remember right, he's like 6'9", 350. And he moves like he's 270. And so I do think that if this happened and he was there, that they will take this pick. I don't think it will happen, but nonetheless, they have the Jets taking Paris Johnson Jr. at number 13, and I think that if he's there, they will take that pick. I just personally think he's going to be gone to Tennessee before that, and so I think that they're going to go with a defensive player. And so probably maybe a linebacker. I know that they don't have very strong linebacker play. They might even go with another wide receiver. Now, all right, so number 14 with the New England Patriots, they have him taking Broderick Jones, offensive tackle out of Georgia. Another just huge dude. He had a sub-5 40-yard dash, and he is a very, very, very solid pick. He's a smart pick. He's a safe pick. Dude is one of the better ranked players in the draft due to him being a pretty finished product already. And so I think that will be a possibility. I've seen a lot of drafts having New England taking a offensive tackle. And one thing that I think might be a possibility for New England is because of the fact that they have Bijan Robinson going to Tennessee, but I don't think that that'll happen. And Mac Jones has kind of been struggling. Damian Harris is a free agent, about to be. I think that there might be a chance that they end up giving that mantle and taking Bijan Robinson, handing the mantle of the pass game a little bit over to the run game to kind of take some pressure off Mac Jones. I think they're going to stick with Mac Jones, but I think that Bijan Robinson might be the pick for the Patriots instead of Broderick Jones. All right. And so Green Bay, they have them taking Michael Mayer, tight end out of Notre Dame. This kid is good. Very good. He will be an immediate impact player. And he can do it all. He's 6'4", 250. He's tough. He's a good player coming out of Notre Dame. And so I actually like this pick. I think that this might be what's going on. The only other thing that I think they might be doing is they might actually take Broderick Jones, and due to him being available still, instead of going tight end. But I wouldn't be upset with this pick at all. I think that would be a good pick. All right, number 16, they have Joey Porter Jr. going to Washington. Penn State, I love this pick. I think that if he's there still, they will take him. They do need to address that position. I do think that the only other possibility that we might see is them taking a quarterback, because they don't really... They're planning on sticking with Sam Howell, but I don't know how confident they are with that pick. And so, because outside of that, they have a very solid defense. They do need help on the offensive side of the ball. And so they might end up going with a defensive player, or not a defensive player, an offensive player in lieu of. But that would be my only other guess. I think if Joey Porter Jr. is on the board, that they take him, though. All right. Pittsburgh, they have Brian Bresee out of Clemson. He's a defensive lineman. And so they are having a lot of their linemen reaching free agency this year, and they're not super duper impressed with. And so I think that this would be a smart pick. I think that this is the right pick. He ran the 40-yard dash in 4.86. He is very, very big. He's a good player. He's the second to Jalen Carter. And I outside of that, I think that they might, if Bijan Robinson's on the board, they might take Bijan. But outside, I like this pick. I think that might be actually what they're going to do. All right, number 18 with Detroit, they have the edge player Myles Murphy going. And I think that if he's on the board already, which I have a feeling that he might be gone already, but if he is on the board, I think they'll take him. This kid is a beast and a half. And so I think that would be a very good pick for them if they ended up taking him. Although I kind of think that they might be thinking a little more offense than they are defense with this one. Braxton Njoku Smith is still currently on the board. And so I think that might be a real possibility for them because of the fact that they were one of the best offenses in the league, but they kind of had some face plants mid-season. And I think that would be a great addition to their offensive scheme if they ended up picking up one of these good wide receivers that are coming out. All right, Tampa Bay, a defensive back, Brian Branch. They're getting rid of who? What's his name? I'm forgetting his name, but they're moving on from one of their cornerbacks. He's a great defensive back. He is a freak athlete, which is not one of. He's not completely going to be 100% game day ready, but these kids are coming from college. They're going to go from having to spend half of their time working on college to working on their game, and so I think that he will be a day one starter for Tampa Bay, and I do think this kid will be a beast in the NFL. Number 20, Seattle has selecting the edge player Nolan Smith out of Georgia. This kid is a freak athlete, but he got hurt last year, so he doesn't have a lot of recent tape. He doesn't have a lot of stats to go along with it, but nonetheless, if I remember correctly, he is the fastest posted edge player that ever ran in the combine, and so he is a Hassan Reddick type player. I don't know if the Seahawks are going to want to do that. I get that he would be a very good fit, but the Seahawks already have a couple players that basically fit his exact description, Darrell Taylor being one of and I think that they're going to go more power. They need a guy and so Lucas Van Ness is kind of who I think is going to be picked at number 20. But nonetheless, they have it at Nolan Smith. I would not be mad. I just think that they're going to go with a guy that hasn't had any previous injury issues already. All right, number 22. Oh, that's right, because the Dolphins lost their pick. So there's only going to be 31 picks in this year's first round. And so, number 22, which is the number 21, which is to the Chargers. And they had them taking Osiris Torrance, offensive lineman out of Florida. I think that that would be a good pick for them. They need to protect Justin Herbert. They have realistically really good players at every, but in the event that this particular draft order was to come into fruition, I kind of believe that they'll go with Lucas Van Ness and or Nolan Smith in the event that they're both, either one or the other will be available because of their injury problems that they've had with Joey Bosa. And so I personally think that that would be the route that they go. I don't really know, though, much about the Chargers' needs. And so Osiris would definitely be a good safe pick for them. They do need to address that need. And so, yeah, I think that that would be a smart pick for them. All right, number 23 with the Baltimore Ravens taking Jackson Smith and Njigba. I cannot pronounce that. If he's on the board, they're going to take him. They have never had a Pro Bowl wide receiver in Baltimore Ravens history. And Lamar Jackson throwing to him? I'm not sure, but probably. You give Lamar Jackson and Jackson Smith, and they're gonna do some things. That I don't care what anybody says. Lamar Jackson's a great NFL quarterback. I know that he's had some question marks about his knee health. He keeps getting hurt. He's had a couple injuries the last couple of years. But I think that if this guy's on the board, they will take him. The only other option I see is if Bijan Robinson falls to this, they might take Bijan. But I think that they're set in their defense. They are going to go offense. And that would be, if he's there, I do believe that they will take him. All right, Minnesota. They have taken Deonte Banks, cornerback out of Maryland. I think that that's a good pick for them. I do. He ran a 4.35 40, and he had a 42-inch vertical, 11'4" broad jump. So this kid is a freak athlete. He's a little bit small. He only weighs 197 pounds, and so bulk him up a little bit, but that's who they have taken at number 24, and I like that pick. I think that that is accurate. All right. Jacksonville taking Lucas Van Ness. Yeah, I do not think that this kid's going to fall to number 25. I don't. Not with how important pass rushers are and how beastly this kid has shown to be. Lucas Van Ness, I'm pretty dang sure will go at number 20 of the Seattle Seahawks, and maybe Nolan Smith will be available for them. But that, nonetheless, I don't know so much as this would just be a best player pick for them. I personally think that the Jaguars will be looking for a wide receiver, maybe an offensive lineman, maybe a cornerback, but because they're moving on from Shaq Griffin, I do not think that Lucas Van Ness will be available at 25. I do think that they'll probably go cornerback. Maybe even trade back to kind of go for a bulk pick type thing. All right, Jordan Addison, wide receiver out of USC, is projected to fall to the New York Giants. I think that would be a good pick for them. He didn't test very well in the combine as much as people had anticipated, and so I think that would be a very good pick for them, and I think that is a very good possibility. Only one other one would possibly be Zay Flowers, but Zay Flowers is a little bit undersized. But at the number 27 pick with the Dallas Cowboys, they have Zay Flowers. And so that very well might be one or the other. They moved on from Amari Cooper last year. They didn't really have a solidified pick number 3. I'm not so sure that that's what they will do. They lost La'el Collins, and so they might be wanting to address an offensive lineman. That would be my pick. I'm not so sure. Maybe Anton Harrison. Something like that might be their pick, but nonetheless, that's who they have taken, and I think that would be a good player to add to play along with Dak Prescott. As we all know, Dak Prescott can slang that thing, and so it would be good for Zay as well. All right, number 28, Anton Harrison, offensive tackle out of Oklahoma, going to the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, that might happen. I honestly probably will happen. They need a new tackle. They need to protect Josh Allen. They need to get a more steady run game in their offense. And so I think that might be and especially if they bring over Derrick Henry, which is, I've heard some whispers, that would be a very good pick for them. So Anton Harris, offensive tackle out of Oklahoma. All right, number 29 for the Cincinnati Bengals. They have taken Darnell Wright, offensive. Yes, that's what they're going to do. They're going to take a tackle. They're going to take maybe a guard. Nah, not a guard. They're going to take a tackle. They're going to take a tackle, and Darnell Wright would be the best one left on the board. I believe that is a thing. All right, New Orleans taking from San Francisco. They have Kalijah Kancey, defensive line out of Pittsburgh. I think that's accurate. Cam Jordan's getting a little older. They have some needs to fill. They have several other needs, but they got a solid offensive line. They've now got a new quarterback. They've got a good running back in Alvin Kamara. I do think they're going to go defensive line, and Kalijah Kancey is probably going to be the best. He's not the biggest guy, but he is explosive. And so I believe that is right. And then number 31 pick, which is actually number 30 pick, they have Jahmyr Gibbs going to Philadelphia. They are stacked at every single position on their team. And I think that because of the scheme that they have, that them taking another young stud running back before allowing him to fall into the second round, yes, I agree. I think that this is a legitimate pick for them. And then with the last pick in the first round, they have the Kansas City Chiefs taking Will McDonald, an edge player out of Iowa State. I would love to see them take him. They're planning on moving on from Frank Clark, and they're going to have... Simon, let me finish this. I'm almost done. I promise. I know. I'm almost done. They're probably going to have a possible retirement out of Carlos Dunlap. They are moving on from Frank Clark, and they need another young guy to play alongside with George Karlaftis. And so I think that this would be a good pick, although I kind of have a feeling that they might trade up to get a tackle and or a wide receiver. That would be very conducive to the style of offense they run, to get another wide receiver. And so I think that might be a very real possibility. But in the event that they stay with the last pick in the first round, and Will McDonald is what's left, I do think that they would take that pick. I do, but I have a feeling that they're going to be moving up. All right, guys, that's my take on the San Diego Union Tribune version of their mock draft for this upcoming draft. Those are my takes on it. That's my reaction video. And so let me know what you guys think. Remember to like and subscribe to my page. I would love it. Give me some comments. Give me some shares. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Again, got my fatherly duties taken at need. That was my boy that just bumped my entire desk. And so, all right, guys. Peace.